I'll send you the answers then. How about tomorrow? I think is that okay with you?
It's okay for me.
Okay. So I'm gonna
my mailbox.
yeah, I'm gonna send them to you tomorrow. Don't worry.
No, it's okay.
All right.
Yeah, there we go. I just received one of the documentation saying that the Australian ratings, what's that? Australian ratings, blah, blah, whatever it is. Okay, now I have seen the chart in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying that the table method.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you remember? Yeah. Do you remember the paragraph that we did yesterday, like the passage that we did yesterday about Australia? Yeah. So that's how you take all those points down. But of course, when you're doing a real exam, you don't have the time to be so neat, isn't it? You're so quick, right? So you was just gonna use you're just going to use your hand to keep on drawing and moving on. Yeah, you just use your hand, draw, jot your points down, and then keep on moving on. It's as simple as that.
I see.
All right.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Now, so are you ready for writing today?
Yes, I'm ready for all.
Are you sure? I know you. I know you're so tired, but this is the worst thing that I always meet with my Turkish students. When it comes to writing, they're like, "Ah, seriously, I'm gonna write now." Yeah.
Then I'm not concerned. Don't get me wrong. I'm not concerned. I'm ready for all.
Okay. I like your attitude. Beautiful. That's a really awesome attitude. All right. Now, so let's go to the folder named The Way Forward. Can you see that?
Which one?
There's a forward in the writing called IELTS Writing Way Forward.
You did it right now. Just let me open it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here we go. Just for a sec. Yes, lesson 2, hands-on writing.
Mm-hmm.
Which documentation you want to open?
It's called IELTS Writing Way Forward. Can you see it?
Just a moment. I'm downloading all documentations you sent to me.
Sure. Because we're gonna use all those, so.
Okay, so yeah. I'm going to download all.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it inside of the files.
That would be awesome.
Let me put them on into the desktop of the file.
Okay. You can create your own folder there as you know.
That's what I did.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. Now, so in the IELTS Writing Way Forward, have you opened that?
IELTS Writing Way Forward. Yes, there we go.
Good. Now, can you read what is in there?
Okay. IELTS Writing Way Forward. Introduction. A paragraph for letters.
Mm-hmm.
Go straight to the point for gaps.
Okay, so the first one says, like, you've got to do an introduction only for letters. Okay? Yeah, not all kinds of writing.
As if they don't have any information about the paragraph. Or any
yes, exactly. But if they give you an information up there to describe, you don't need to do an introduction for it. Okay? You just need to go straight to the point for graphs and charts or analysis for that, for you to, to start doing your writing. Okay? But if they give you letters, or if they tell you, you have this topic, can you write about it? Then you have to do an introduction because, it wants you to put your own information and your own ideas and your own opinions into the writing. Okay?
Go straight to the point for gaps and chart analysis.
Mm-hmm.
The body part should not be more than 3 paragraphs for a 150 word writing task.
Yeah.
It shouldn't exceed 3 paragraphs for a 250 word writing task.
Mm-hmm.
Go straight to the point when doing graphs analysis.
Mm-hmm.
For every paragraph, don't forget a thesis statement which which is a sentence that gives out the general idea in the passage, be sure that you have
There's a spelling mistake of that there. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
All right, good.
I call it a that.
All right.
All expectations required in writing test. This applies for graphic analyzed writing.
Okay. All right. That is straightforward. So if you're given like a letter or something and you're supposed to write a small 150 words, kind of a piece of task, then you're supposed to do at least, let's say, 5 paragraphs. The first paragraph is going to be your introduction.
5 or 3?
5.
Okay.
3 in the body part.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is going to be your introduction, 3 in your body part, and the last one is going to be your conclusion.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. But you can as well make 4. You can make 3. It depends with you. Some people do have long paragraphs. All right. But don't make so many paragraphs, like small ones, and make like 6 or something like that. The maximum should be like 5. All right.
Yes.
All right. Now this applies the same way to the 250 word thing. Okay. You don't have more than 6 paragraphs. You just go at least maximum of like 6. All right, because nobody wants to go ahead and keep on reading and reading stuff. They just want to like have one common idea and go deeper into it and understand it. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
All right, and then there's a part which says that you need to get used to using the thesis statement every time. Okay, so today we are actually going to work on the thesis statement a little bit. All right.
Yes.
And we are also going to work on some other vocabulary used in, graphical descriptions or graphical writings. Okay?
Yep.
All right, good. Now, the vocabulary paper or the vocabulary folder is right in there. Have you opened it?
Mm-hmm.
It's written vocabulary.
Yes.
Good. Now, we can close the way forward one. It was just like a summary of everything else.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, now let's go to the vocabulary part. We're going to work on just a few of them, and then we're going to use our second session to practice on the thesis statements. Okay? All right, so now when you're describing, let's say, a graph, okay, because a graph shows the increase or decrease of particular, activities or events in what you're analyzing. So you're going to use these words here. Like the word soar, have you seen it?
Soar, yeah.
It's called like the up verbs. So this you're describing an upward trend. Okay? Like for example, what is the name of your company?
Turkish Airlines.
Turkish Airlines. Beautiful. Beautiful. So with the Turkish Airlines, you say like sales soared. All right?
Can I use soar or can I use soared up?
Just soared.
Just soared.
All right? Because soar itself means up.
All right.
Okay?
There's no need to put any extra up.
No, there's no need for you to put an extra up right there. All right? Now, for example, the sales in the Turkish Airlines soared between the month of April and May.
Okay.
Because, I presume that the customers or the travelers were actually preparing themselves or moving into summer regions to have a holiday or stuff like that. Okay?
I get it.
Yeah. So we have that soar there. So for example, we've got an example here. The use of water soared in March. Okay? So it means like it really increased immensely.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you go down there, we've got notes. Have you seen the notes down there under the table?
Just let me see.
Under that table right there.
I'm open the table.
No, it's right in the same PDF. Not the table I sent you before. That one has nothing to do with what we're doing now.
Okay.
Yeah, the same PDF. Like, have you seen the verbs soar in a table?
Yes, I've seen
Good.
that, yes.
Now below that there is a notes.
It's
No, below soar is leap, and Below that table, it's notes. Have you seen the notes there?
Yes, yes.
Good. Now, so you have soar there and you have rocket. These are two vocabularies which are used for almost the same reason, but they're very strong words that describe large rises. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're talking of a soaring thing, it's like it's a plummeting thing, something which happened like all of a sudden in a rising mode. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So soar and rocket could be used for the same purpose to describe charts. All right?
But rocket is a verb, right?
What?
Rocket is also a verb, right?
Yes, rocketing, it comes from the word rocketing. How does a rocket rise up into the sky? Sharp, isn't it? It's not like that. It's like that. So when you see a line like that in a graph, then you say the prices rocketed upwards. All right? So with a rocket, you're going to have a double T there for you to make an ED. To have rocketed.
Okay.
All right? Yeah. Then we're going to the next word there, which says leap.
Just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, leap, yes.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me the meaning of the word leap right there? It's written like, you just read the sentence and then let me know what is it. What is the meaning of that?
The prices leap up to 90 percentage
Mm-hmm.
1 year.
Yeah.
Maximum to 90 percentage.
It's like a sudden change, the upward mode. Okay? Like for example, what? A sudden change towards the upward mode.
It's sudden change.
Uh-huh.
It's sudden change, but it's the mentality is the same with rocket.
Not really. Rocketing is like talking of quantity. Okay? Yeah. But then when you're talking of leaping, is like a sudden change. For example, you've got a graph like this. Can you see my hands?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, you see a graph rising like this. So you're going to talk of leaping this way. All right?
Okay.
Yeah. But when you're talking of soaring, we're talking of an increase in activity. Like you have a lot of profits or stuff like that. You can have a sharp upward, that's a soaring trend. But leaping is like just like a drastic, sorry, not a drastic change. Yeah, a drastic change towards the upper side. Okay? So, in short, the two words are actually confusing, but you can actually use them in, replacing each other and you don't have much of a problem. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Then we've got climbed there. Populations climbed to over 1 million by 1980. So this is normal, isn't it? It's just a meaning of the word increasing. Okay? It's just another word of increasing. So you say climbing is a relatively neutral verb that can be used with other verbs below. Okay? So you can say climbing up or climbing down. That's the only verb that we have to use with adverbs like up or down.
Okay.
Do you understand now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then we have the word surge. Now, surge is, for example, a surge of migration is seen in November. Okay? Like in a particular period of time, you're seeing a mammoth increase, a very big increase. So surge, soar, and rocketing are words which are close to each other. But when you're using surge, you're using crowded numbers. Okay? When you're using surge, you always use a crowded numbers. And when do you always use surge to do some, analysis? Is when you're using a line graph, not a bar graph.
For example, if I'm using the leap instead of surge, am I making wrong?
When you're using leap instead of a surge, yeah, you'd be making a slight mistake. Why? Because a surge shows a particular increase in only one time, and then there was like probably a decrease. Okay, like you've got a graph which moves straight like this, and then all of a sudden you've got an upper trend, and then you have another, you know, straight line. So that upper part is a surge. Okay.
I see.
Yeah, but with soar, it mostly used within a particular period of time. From if you're talking about March and April, so you're gonna say like generally prices soared during these periods. Like we had very high prices during these periods between, let's say, March and February, or let's say March and July and stuff like that. But when you're talking of
what is the difference between soar and surge?
soar and surge is like what can I put it? You're talking of only one instant. There's not much difference actually. But you're talking of only in normal English, there's not much difference. But with analysis, there is a little bit difference. Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
If you're talking of a point, and that particular point, there was an increase. But with soar, you're talking of a region, and in that particular region, you've got an increase.
Of course, I'll get an English for soar,
Mm-hmm.
and then surge also increased too.
Yes.
So I don't understand what are the differences.
Okay. Let me put it away in a different way. I think I have somewhere I can write here. So March, and let's say June. Okay, and then we got June. Now, can you see my two graphs here?
No, not exactly.
Can you see them now?
Yes.
Good. Now, the upper one is talking about soaring. Why? Because you're talking of two regions of time. Okay? And the lower one is talking about surging. Why? Because you're talking about a particular point in time.
Particular up and down, right?
No, just a particular upper point.
Up.
Yes, yeah, the upper point. Because it's all about the upward verbs.
Well, what about soar? Is there any down or?
It's also up, but you're talking of a region. Okay? Yeah. And surge, it's also up, but you're talking of a point. Okay? Like, let's say in June the 30th, we had a surge. Okay? But between March and June, we had a soaring prices. Okay? Yeah. But it's all the same thing. In normal English, it's the same. Now, when you're doing your descriptions in IELTS, it's rare for them to go ahead deeper and look into the differences. Okay? Especially when you've got vocabularies which are very close to each other. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so let's go down there and look at down verbs.
Okay.
Good.
Think.
So we've got sink. This is like the opposite of surging. It's like the opposite of surging.
Okay.
All right, and then we've got a slip back. The use of electricity slipped back to 50 in May. What does it mean? We had a slight decrease. Okay, that is the meaning of slipping back. Slight decrement.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, they're all the same things actually, but you know, it's up to you to choose what to use. Okay. Yeah. And we're going to get the real differences when you're starting to do your writing. That's what I'm going to tell you, like, hey, don't use slip back here, use deep or use drop or use something like that. Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
But for now, those are the kind of meanings that we have. And for example, the word deep. Deep is also the same as sink. All right?
Okay.
Because you're moving towards the deep end, and a slight, so not an abrupt decrease. All right, so it's also the same as sinking. Drop is just a slight dropping. You can have a line like that which is moving towards the downwards, but when you have a dipping, then you have something like that, you're moving sharp downwards. All right, that's a dip. Okay,
but the drop is slower. Drop is slow.
A drop is not slow. A drop is abrupt. No, I'm sorry, yeah. A drop is slow, a dip is abrupt. Okay? Yeah.
Is sudden drop is slow.
Yes. Okay? Plummeting is equal to drop. No, sorry. Plummeting is equal to dip, not dropping. The same as, yeah, the same as dipping. Now, you have notes down there. You can go ahead and just look at them. Plummet is the strongest word here. It means to fall very quickly and in a long way. Drop and drop are normally used for fairly small decreases. All right? When you're just having a small decrease. A slip back is used for falls that come after rises. Okay, so here we have...
It's used for falls that
come after rises. Okay? Right. For example, we have a rise here. That's our graph, and we have a rise here moving upwards, and then all of a sudden we have a slight decrement and then moving upward again. So this part here is called a slip back. We had a slight slip back. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So we've risen up and then all of a sudden we have another drop. So that's called a slip back. And drop and dip are also frequently used as nouns, slight dip or a sudden drop. Okay? All right, so that's a little bit confusing. Now, down there in that paragraph, it's explaining the correct way of using these particular words or nouns in the correct way. For example, when you say a significant rise, it's correct. But when you say it rose significantly, it's also correct. But when you say a significantly rise, that's going to be wrong. Okay? So it's grammatically wrong. You cannot use it that way. And down there, when you use dramatically, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. So you don't have problems with that, isn't it?
No, I don't have any problem.
Good, good. All right. So we're done with that. Now,
Adjectives of degree. Adjectives of degree.
Adjectives of degree. Good. Now, with adjectives of degree, you've got significant, and you go to the adverbs where they change into significantly, and for example, something changed significantly when you're using it in a sentence. Okay? Yeah. So all
a dramatic change, dramatically, shifts dramatically, sudden rise, suddenly,
good.
That's right, substantially, substantial gain, substantially.
So what is the meaning of substantial, for example? When something rises substantially, what does it mean?
Fastly or
not really. No, not as we expected, but a little bit rose. That's what it's saying. Oh, not a very sudden rise. It's an accepted kind of a rise. It's okay, not bad, not good, but we have a positive thing. That's what you say when you're talking of substantial.
Okay.
All right? Yeah. Sharp.
A sharp decrease. Decrease. So sharp. Okay. Sharply. And decrease sharply.
Good. Now, when you have a sharp increase, what does it mean?
Okay. It's sudden, not a sudden. So exact.
Now, is it going to be a surge or a soar?
When you say
sharp increase, is it going to be a surge or a soar?
Surge.
It's going to be a surge. Very good.
Even rockets, right?
Yes, even rocketing is the same thing with a sharp increase. All right. Let's move down there to small adjectives. So upwards, we are talking about steady adjectives. No, not really.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Spectacular and dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Spectacular and dramatic are the same meaning, as far as I know.
Yeah. They're only talking about big changes. Now, these big changes could either be positive or negative. You can still use them. All right?
But the meaning of the words are the same, right?
Yeah, they're just the same. All right? Yeah.
Let's keep on, please.
All right. So steady adjectives. Let's go to steady adjectives right there. So what does it mean by steady? You're not talking of a sharp increase. No. You're talking of something which increases slowly with time. That's steady.
It's like a yellow traffic light.
What do you mean by yellow traffic light? Oh, yeah.
When you're driving the car, when you see the yellow traffic light not moving,
Uh-huh.
you're driving.
You're driving it. You slow down a little bit, but you keep on driving.
While you're keeping on driving, when you see this green, yellow traffic light, you are getting slower.
Yes. And when you see the red one, that's when you stop down.
Stop down.
Good. Okay, so it's like the yellow traffic lights. That's a good example. All right. Then we've got consistent here. What is the meaning of consistent?
I don't know.
All right. Now, despite any changes, for example, let me give you an example of a resilient market. All right. Despite any financial crisis or any problems that that particular company had, you still had a consistent increase or a consistent decrease. So
it's like storm.
no, consistent. It's the same as steady. There's no much difference with it.
Huh.
All right, yeah. You just had something without any problem, not affected by any other factors outside, moving on forward. All right, but
Okay.
in a slower pace. So that's called consistent. Okay, or despite any other external factors, you still have it increasing or decreasing. So the decrease is always like normal for a big region of time or for a big chunk of time. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Constant. That should be easy, right?
Keep on, please.
I'm talking of constant. What is a constant?
I'm not quite sure.
All right. Constant is like something which is like on a zero line or on the same region without any changes.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah. So that's called constant.
Okay.
So we have a constant shift or a constant decrease or a constant increment. So for example, if a line moves straight like that, I'm going to say like between March and February, we had a constant production of products. Okay? And if I have another graph like that, and that line, can you see it?
Yeah.
Good. And that line moves without any interferences whatsoever, it's just moving straight upwards, then that's also constant. Yeah, it doesn't change upwards or downwards. Yeah?
Without any change.
Yes, without any changes. It's just moving on the same region. Like if you've got two boxes, then it's moving on two boxes, two boxes, two boxes like that. So it's constant.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah. So it's also the same meaning as steady. So you can say like the prices between March and April were steady. The prices were moving steadily upwards. You cannot say the prices were steady here. You can only say the prices were moving steadily because the trend is upward.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Now.
Just a moment.
Good, sure.
Yes, please. Keep on.
Are you losing charge?
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's go to small adjectives. Okay?
Yes.
Let's go to small adjectives. Now, with the small adjectives, you've got slight. You can have a slight rise, a small rise, or you can have the rise rising slightly, or it rose slightly. Okay? So, slight is the same as a very, very small effect. Now, then you have gradual. What is the meaning of gradual?
Not quite sure.
It's a synonym of slight, but much slower. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's also the same thing. Marginal, it's also the same as small change, or a marginal change. Modest, it's also the same thing. So we don't have, but when you talk of a modest, you talk of a quite accepted increase, but a small increase. The increase was acceptable, but it was small still. Okay? Yeah. When you're talking of a slight increase, sometimes the company is not happy. You say like, oh, we just had a slight increase. All right? I think next time we're going to do much better. But when somebody tells you like, we had a modest increase, it means like it was not a big increase, it was a slight increase, but it's something which we are happy about it. That's the meaning of modest. Okay? Yeah, that's the only part when you can use modest. All right. Down there you've got notes. Marginal is a particularly useful word for describing very small changes. So all this is just used to describe small changes. You don't really have to confuse them. You can use one in place of the other. But you just have to be careful when you're using modest. Okay?
Modest.
Yeah, you just have to be careful when using modest. All right, let's go again down there. What do we have?
Other useful adjectives.
Yes, other useful adjectives. So we've got an upward, downward, and overall. This is all the stuff that we always know. Okay?
Upward. By looking at 5 data points, there appears to be clear upward pattern in price.
Yes.
Upward is up.
Yes. An upward pattern in prices. Okay? Like you looked at March and you saw 50. Then you went forward and looked at, let's say, April, and you saw something to do with 55. Then you went ahead and looked at the next month, you saw 56 point something. All right? So there is an upward trend. By looking at particular points, there's an upward trend. So this is how you're going to construct your sentences when you're doing the writing itself. Okay? All right.
Opposite of the upward is downward.
Downward.
And overall is a general overview.
Very good. Yeah. Overall is it's about like you're summarizing up everything else. Okay.
Can I use general overview instead of overall? Or generally overview, or overview of generally.
General is okay. All right.
But
not general overview. Okay. Yeah. You can say general is fine, or you can say overly, or you can say overall. It's all okay. Okay. Yeah. Good. I think we're done now, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. Now, here comes the hard part.
Which one?
And the hard part is I want you to make sentences using at least 3 vocabularies in the up verbs.
Okay.
And please post them on Skype, because I'm going to see them right here, just in case you have any writing mistakes. I need to see it.
Okay.
And then you make other sentences, the same 3 words in the down verbs. Choose as simple words as you can. We don't need to use, difficult vocabularies for nothing. We need to use simple so that they get understandable.
3 sentences for upwards.
And
for downward.
3 for downwards, and 3 for
overall.
Adjectives or degrees. So in every single part, just make 3 sentences. Okay?
Write down. Can I write down?
Yeah. Most of the times when I talk to my students, I always tell them to like words. Like, for example, if you've seen the up verbs there are some words that you feel like, oh, I like this word. I like the other word. Now, once you like it, make sure that you put a star on it. Say like, hey, I like it, and this is the word that I'm going to keep on using it. I don't want to mix, yeah, I don't want to mix myself up with the other words or stuff like that. Okay?
And now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a vertical, create a sentences as complex as I can do.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
I don't want to put any easy sentences in front of you, but I'm trying to force myself to give you much more complex,
Okay.
much more complicated, or you understand what I say.
All right, I get it. Beautiful. All right, you can go ahead and start. Okay. Let me get myself some tea. I'll be right back.
Sure, you can do that.
Okay. I see you sent a few of them.
Yep. Same words. I use the same word.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to use the upward with a trend. I don't know why.
No, that's really cool. Like, it's awesome to do that. Because most of the time, upward is always, most of the times it goes with trend. So you can say...
I want to use all words with trend. For example, the amount of sales income.
Okay.
Is upward trend in 2000.
You can say an upward trend or downward trend, but you cannot say like, the prices had a soaring trend. No. You can just say the prices soared or they surged, okay, between this period and that period.
What about second sentence?
So the amount of sales income has upward trend in 2017. Now, we have a grammatical problem here. Can you see it yourself?
No.
So the amount of sales income has an upward trend in 2007. So we're going to put the word "and" there, the article, which is very important. And then, as reported by government, that the job opportunities in the states has an upward trend.
Okay. How can I use the word without trend?
No, upward. You can say like moving upward. Okay? Yeah, moving upward or moving downwards. Or you can also say showing an upward inclination. Yeah, that's another way out. But why would you use different kind of, words? Use the easy one. The one that comes in your mind is better for you. Okay? Yeah. So
what about how can I say that, the climb? There should be any upward climb.
Upward climb, yeah, that's also okay. You can say an upward climb. So we've got an upward climb. And upward inclination. Upward trend. And moving upward.
For example, this sentence.
There's a certain upward claim, not claim, climb.
Climb, I see.
There's a certain upward climb on high-tech parts. Now, what do you mean by the word certain here?
I would like to make the meaning of the upward stronger.
Okay, not really. So, we're going to say like there is a foreseeable upward climb on high-tech parts. When you talk of certain,
could you write that?
Foreseeable. Foreseeable. Right there.
All right.
There's a foreseeable upward climb on high-tech parts. Or
did you write it correct?
Yeah, foreseeable.
All right.
Yeah. And vivid.
Oh, vivid.
Yeah. There's a vivid upward climb on high-tech parts. Or there's a clear upward. Sorry, that's not clear.
Okay.
That's clear now.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
Foreseeable and vivid.
And vivid. Now, because when you say certain, it means like you're not really sure whether that particular increment is there. There's a certain increment. So what is the increment? You have to tell us exactly. So when you say like there's a vivid, means like there's a clearly. It's all seeable. All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, can I use the upwards or downwards with for temperature?
Yes. You can do that. Any kind of graph you can use it. For as long as it moves upwards or downwards, then you can always use the words.
I'm used again trends. I don't know why.
Just keep on doing it. Don't worry. Because most of the time when you're reading articles in the newspaper, that's what you see. You don't see like there's a vivid or foreseeable or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
You just see an upward trend, so you're used to it.
Yeah. Downward trend for temperature has been the downward trend for temperature has been recorded.
What do you mean by the downward trend for temperature has been recorded?
This is the word.
Now, you can clearly see a downward temperature, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. So you cannot say like has been recorded. So you're only going to use words like there is a downward trend for temperatures. That's it.
Nice.
Okay? Yeah. But you don't say has been recorded because, of course, it's been recorded. It's being shown there using graphs and charts. All right?
Okay.
Yeah. And don't forget to talk about the time. The downwards temperature has been recorded. When was it recorded? Or when is the downwards temperature shown? In which particular periods of time?
I see.
Yeah.
I write down one of the sentences.
Okay.